It's a wonky cat facility, kind of, sort of, almost, maybe. What chaos did we leave off with? Who even really knows, but we're almost caught up. So much happens every day, but today I'm going to tell you guys about the walls. The walls, what's so interesting about the walls? Everything is interesting about the walls. They're the wonky walls, the very structure. And so it was important that we encompassed everything that it is we want this to be. And you guys are the biggest part of having built this and to continue building it. So it only made sense that it had a bit of you guys in it. And so we wrote all of your special kitties' names and all of our beautiful affirmations from the windows to the walls. If you caught our live, that is when we were writing them all down before we started priming. I also wrote down Instagram and TikTok comments as well as monthly donors requests. And this was honestly such a special experience and made this really real and so much more special and cool. We kind of did this on a whim, but we are going to do it again when we work on the nursery a little bit more professionally and planned out. Maybe. But this was truly the happiest day I had in so very long. Thank you guys. Thank you. This is thank you. Anyways, you know I never have time for an emotional response, but I do vibe with emotions of the world, and this video is all about how we created good energy for our project moving forward. More often than not, people are very confused by me, but it tends to be for two completely opposite reasons. But don't worry, I can explain. I can always explain. So, your first impression of me likely went one of two ways. Either, girl, you is so logical and science-driven and know what you're talking about, you just go about it in such a silly, goofy way. Or, this crazy lady has absolutely no idea what she's talking about or doing. I would not trust her with a leaf. But my personal favorite first impression is when Mary told me that all brilliant scientists are absolutely unhinged. Does this look like a stable face to you? And that is where I prefer to reside. So first and foremost, science is forever my ride or die. So while many of you might be like, I would not trust her with a single thing that she says without confirmation, which is what I want. That's how I like it. That's why I stay this way. Question everything. I do, believe it or not, know what I'm talking about, unfortunately, but that knowledge is constantly changing and expanding and growing into different things, and that's why I would rather inspire you guys to want to learn than to take everything I say as law. Because no matter how much I learn, I am constantly learning more. And everything around me is ever changing, and that's what brings us into this next part. While science is my number one, my homeboy, my ride or die, my life makes too little sense to not believe in some sort of higher power. And so I believe in energy, and energy has its place in science. We just don't fully understand every little aspect to it yet because we are constantly learning and growing and evolving. Every day we are presented with new information that changes our perspective and helps us to keep learning. So if you weren't sure what I was, you can now check off all three boxes: unstable, logical, and spiritual. To me, my friends, those are the components of life. So while you can bet that I chemically burned myself with the amount of hardcore cleaning I did in this place, once we dealt with the bacteria, it was time to deal with the vibes. Why am I sharing this? I don't know. I just kind of felt like you guys should be involved in the whole thing and everything that goes into this, and this was just part of the beginning, and so yeah, take from it what you will, even though some of you I know will walk away, and that's okay. That means it's working. The first thing I did is I used my cedar bundle and I smoke cleansed whilst dancing to my favorite ridiculous music, embodying the energy that I want to grow here. Please note that this was not sage, nor did I use the term smudging, because that is not what this is. What I do incorporate, I learned most of from my really dear native friend, and I encourage you guys to do the same thing if you're curious. This is not a place I have an education, so I am simply sharing with you guys. And then I took advantage of the baseboards being off, and I squeezed a little bit of black salt into the crevices for protection and pots. And I sprinkled some of it out in the front, and then I had a little bit too much to drink one night and became that white girl. Oh dear God. We'll figure out what to do with that, but I'm going to be incorporating all of these little things here and there, little bitty pieces, so I wanted to make a video explaining, but just know that in my personal experience, neither science or spirituality negates the other, but instead is all one and the same. But I understand the science side better, so I'm going to rely a little bit more heavily on that one, because what is the goal this day and every day? We're not gonna die. This is absolutely bullshit. Do you know how many times I've cleaned the floor? I've cleaned the floor so many times. This is bullshit.